Hello and welcome to another edition of Skill for You. This is a platform that brings to you the needed information on the importance of acquiring a skill, especially in today's reality. Welcome to the program. My name is Patience. It's always a pleasure to be here. Nigeria is a nation that's richly endowed with both natural resources and also a robust population. And a significant percentage of that population is made up of youthful Nigerians. But unfortunately, a lot of these Nigerian youths are unemployed, which can lead to a lot of ills, and I'm putting that mildly, if it's not properly handled. The Nigerian government over the years have tried to intervene in the matter of unemployment, but unsuccessfully. And today we'll be talking about one of the most important solutions to Nigeria's youthful unemployment situation, which is the acquisition of skills. But I'm not alone here. It's a pleasure to have joining me on set today to look at this issue of unemployment and how the issue of technical education, skill acquisition, vocational training, and all of those good stuff can actually be a solution to the unemployment issue of Nigeria. My guest is what they call a big fish. All right. He is a builder. He's also an engineer, and he's a fellow of more than 10 institutes. But to keep it simple, let me just tell you a few. He's a fellow of the Nigerian Institute of Building. He's also a fellow of the Institute of Civil Engineers. He's a fellow of the Institute of Management, fellow of Construction Industry Arbitrators, and he's also a fellow of the Academy of Engineering, to mention but a few. It's a pleasure to welcome to Skill for You today, Mr. Samson Ame Opalua on the program.
Thank you very much.
Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you.
I'm so excited to have you here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us.
I'm glad to be here.
Glad to have you here. And of course, I must mention my Oga at the top. He is the MD CEO of the Honey Treat Trade Academy. He's a man who started from the very bottom. And he has, through the acquisition of skill and personal development, risen up the rungs of the ladder to become what he is today. And over time, we have shared his story also on this platform. But then I'm always excited to have him join us on set. It's a pleasure to have builder Shoyebi Samson on the show as well. Welcome to the show, my Oga.
Your salary,
Good to have you here as well.
Thank you so much for having me. It's always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure.
You are. You said I'm your Oga, but technically you are my Oga. Because you are the one teaching me presenting. Thank you so much for having me.
Welcome, sir. Yeah. All right. So once again, I welcome us all to the program. Let me also welcome you, the viewer or the listener. Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget, we are on all of the social media platforms and especially on YouTube. Please go subscribe to our channel. It's a Honey Tree TV, okay? And click the subscribe button, like our videos, and please share so that more people can also benefit from this. Back to the topic. We're looking at skills and vocational training as a panacea to Nigeria's unemployment problem. And I think the very place to begin will be for you, sir, to actually break down this issue of, vocational training, skill acquisition. What is it really in simple terms? Not that people don't know what it is, but some people just look at it as one very humongous word. Something that is beyond what they are capable of doing. So maybe you start for us from there, breaking it down into simple terms.
Thank you very much. I'm pleased to be here, and I want to say that skill is a major enabler, and the mantra skill acquisition, skill development, all that you are hearing now is not new. It's been there from the beginning of time. And in a simple definition, I would say that skill is the ability or competencies that you acquire through knowledge, training, and experience to solve a problem or to provide a service. So, in a nutshell, it is the ability to be able to do something correctly and in a very defined manner that is acceptable to those who want that service or that problem solved. And it is not new in that from the beginning of time, God has wired every individual that is created with a certain type of skill. And if you go back to the beginning in the Bible, the first you find in Genesis 1 is that God created man and put him in the garden, and he gave him dominion over all his creation. In effect, he cannot have dominion over the creation without being able to manage them. So if you go to Genesis 2 verse 15, he says he put the man and the woman in the garden to dress and to keep it. That's management. That's maintenance. That's facility management. Now, having done that, if you go deeper, you will discover that when God wanted the tabernacle to be created and even the ark to be built, he gave instructions to Moses. But after giving instructions to Moses, he told Moses that I have given you two people, Bezalel and Holiab. He said that these people have the cunningness. I have put in them the cunningness. That is a skill to be able to do all these things that I have instructed you to do. So God has wired man with skills, and we are differently skilled in different areas, but we just have to expose that innate skill that is in us. So there is no one that can say I have no skill. All that you need to do is to bring to the fore what is latent and to be discovered. Once you discover what you have the ability to do and do well and provide service and solve problems, you already have a skill.
Wow.
And then if you go back to our own society, from the olden days, we had various categories of skillful men in our societies. In the village, you have the blacksmith, you have the hunters, you have the carpenters, you have the farmers, you have so many pot makers, pottery, and those are skills. So when today we are saying we have youth population and they have no skill, it's because we have not dug deep and we have not re-examined who we are and why we are where we are. By the time we are be able to analyze that, we will be able to find solutions.
All right, Mr. Shoibi. Every time the conversation is around how skills, can solve the unemployment problem of the Nigerian youth, then I begin to wonder. It's not like we don't have skilled people already. Look around you. You find carpenters, plumbers, people doing diverse things skillfully. And you begin to wonder, is there another kind of skill set we're talking about here that is meant to solve this problem? Why are the already established skills and skilled people not already fixing this unemployment problem?
Okay, so thank you so much for that question. But before I respond to you, you can see vividly now that you have just brought on a very big fish. And this one is a whale, not even a shark.
A blue whale,
A
for
blue
that,
whale.
for that matter.
I feel so honored that I'm seated with him to respond to issues on skill, because he is the chairman of the State of Skill Council for Nigeria, and
Right.
he's sitting right at the top of the pyramid.
Okay.
And he's also a pastor. So you can see him talking into the Bible and everything. And you can see the depth of his wisdom in terms of understanding what we should be doing. He's my mentor. We look up to him. So back to your question. Basically, skill, just like he has said, is something that as God has created us, there is a part of us that has been drafted or drawn into a particular proficiency. Some people from childhood, they're already singing as a child. And you hear the sound of the voice, you know that this sound is really, really fantastic, you know. So just like he said, God already knew who we are going to be. He had prepared us for the future, and he had given us the capacities we needed, the skills that we needed. It's buried right in us. We just need to find it. Unfortunately, when we got colonized, the belief was that we needed to learn a particular language before we can acquire skill. So in the pursuit of learning those languages, we started trying to copy the culture of the people who we felt were bigger than us. And it destroyed our morale. When we started Onitry Trade Academy, the first thing I realized was the morale for people who want to acquire skill was totally low. You tell your child, I want you to become a mechanic. You tell you, Daddy, so you hate me so much, you want me to be a mechanic. If you ask a child to go and learn fashion designing, you say, oh, you hate me so much, you want me to go and learn, be a tailor. You know, so the motivation was not there, and we saw it. So what we did differently was that we wanted the environment where people are going to acquire these skills to be exciting and inviting. We made sure our classes had internet 24 hours. We made sure that 24 hours lighting. We made sure that the classroom environment does not seem like a typical trade environment. It looks like a school when you are there, even though what you are learning is skill.
Not
you
like
know.
a dumpster for
You
failures,
understand?
academic failures.
Because the assumption is that if you are being taken to somewhere where you acquire skill, you know, it's like you are the least of society.
That's because you cannot do well in
You
school.
cannot do well in school. You are already presumed a failure. And that affected the willingness of people to go into skill.
True.
Now it becomes obvious that the need for skill for a survivor is much, much higher than managerial courses. Management courses in every establishment, when you have a team of productive team, maybe one of them will be the manager. The remaining people, you need them to be tactical or production team. So we now have more managers than people are supposed to actually carry out the actual production. And that was what led us to this massive unemployment rate. I've seen a lot of categorization the federal government have tried to do, but when you still look at it, we are still massively showing figures of massive unemployment in our society, and a lot needs to be done. Part of it is what the Sector Skill Council is doing, you know, with working with awarding bodies, working with training centers, working with regulators like the National Board of Technical Education and the federal government. And I'm a member of the Sector Skill Council, you know, and I know what the council is doing internally to ensure that skill is put at the front burner of, you know, growth and economic viability of the nation.
You know, I was at an event not too long ago. It was a gathering for women. And the center of the conversation was around every woman going to learn a skill. Yeah, and all of that. So, I mean, it just dawned on me that, you know, this gospel is, you know, is going, spreading everywhere. It's going around. Everybody is beginning to understand, you know, the fact that learning a skill is a prerequisite for every other thing else you want to do today. In fact, somebody mentioned at that gathering that skill acquisition, vocational training is the new crude oil in Nigeria and all that. Okay, so the question I asked you, Mr. Shoebi, you didn't quite answer it the way I wanted it. I'm asking, for those who are already skilled people, why is that not solving the unemployment problem? Is it that it's not enough? Do we need more of that to make an impact?
Okay, there are three things. One is trust. Two is certification. Three is the number of people who has it. As of now, if you say you are looking for an electrician, it will take you more time. When you put application out, we've requested for facility manager for a very long time. When they come in like in twos or threes. when you say you are looking for an accountant, you get more number. If you say you are looking for a business manager, you get like 100 people apply for the job. But say you are looking for facility manager, you get maybe 1 or 2. It's telling you that the number of people who had acquired skill are not as much as people who had managerial skills. So we need to ramp up that number.
Okay.
We need to make sure that there are more people who acquire skill. Like before now, I used to wear jeans and shirt a lot. Now, I wear my top and bottom a lot more, especially when I'm in the country. Each time I want to sew, I sew in 10 pairs. That alone is a lot of resource for someone. And there are no level of assessment to really categorize proficiency that has been documented. We are just at that stage now, thanks to the SEC, the Sector Skill Council, which my guy is heading.
Okay.
They are now regularizing and standardizing the practice by making sure that the industry needs can be categorized. And we say, okay, this person has this level of proficiency, NSQ level 1. This is the level of at which they are supposed to earn. Someone who has NSQ level 2 in a trade should earn this rate. Someone who has this NSQ level 1 should earn that rate. By the time you have all of that, and people see that I can start my life as a fashion designer, and I can get to
And then grow
and being referred to as a doctor, doctor so. And when you look at the trade at which you are being called a doctor, it's in fashion designing. And you will not imagine that was a possibility before now. But societies that have done what we are currently looking at doing, that is what they are doing. In England, you can rise from being a tradesman at level 1 to level 12. And you will be an industry stakeholder that whatever it is you say on that trade
stands.
And
Wow,
you are
interesting.
an authority.
All right, let me just interject here. We'll come back to you, sir. The conversation is getting more interesting. We're talking about, how the issue of skill training is being looked into from the government angle in terms of developing it to the point where there is more respect and regard, for skill acquisition, translating into better lives for the citizenry. You're still watching Skill for You. We'll take a quick break now. We'll be right back. Welcome back. You're still watching Skill for You, and we're still talking about solving Nigeria's youthful unemployment problem through skill acquisition. So, back to you, sir. You were talking about things you are doing more of now, to make skill training more interesting to people and also to make it better. So, let's just pick it up from there.
Now, under the National Council of Skills are the Sector Skills Councils.
Okay.
Now, one of the Sector Skills Councils, which is the biggest today, is the Sector Skills Council for Building in Nigeria. Now, this Sector Skills Council, I'm privileged to be the first president.
Okay.
And was inaugurated just last year.
Wow. Okay.
However, we have developed what we call the NOS, which I mentioned earlier, which is what can be used to assess, to train, and to license artisans from levels 1 to 11. Now, level 1 is somebody that has not acquired any skills, just came in to the skill. Maybe
fresh.
He's a joint man. He will now be following those. Then level 2, he has acquired some competencies. Level 3, he has begun to do the work like that. By the time you get to level 11, That's the level of a PhD holder in the formal sector. And we are now bringing the National Skills Qualification Framework has now brought both the technical and the academic in a parity, so that you can have the equality of this. So if you are a level 11, that's the last level of being an artisan or a technician or technologist, whatever your sector decides to call it. You are like a PhD holder who is lecturing in the university.
Right.
Now,
is this already operational?
This is operational, but it has to take root.
Okay.
Only last year, the Federal Executive Council also approved that products of this National Skills Qualification Framework can now be recruited into the Federal Civil Service.
Wow.
And of course, the federal government is the lead government. So I believe that the state governments will adopt similar. So what does it mean? It means, therefore, that if I am a carpenter and I'm trained and assessed on the basis of the National Occupational Standards, and I acquire level 2, 3, 4, or whatever, I can go to any government agency and they have the scheme of service for me to be employed and to work there
as a civil servant.
as a civil servant. But that is not even the major focus. The major focus is that once you are able to acquire this skill, it frees you, it gives you a certain level of independence, because you are able to provide service. You are able to solve problems, and people will patronize you. We had an alliance with the Northern Ireland Construction Industry Training Board, and they took our NOS and went and benchmarked it against their system, and we're even higher. So we got that international recognition. I must say that in the Sector Skills Council for Building in Nigeria, there is an anchor professional regulatory body, which is the Council of Registered Builders of Nigeria, which is incidentally, I'm also the current chairman.
Oh.
So what have we done in Corbon? We have decided that not only will we develop these skills in Nigeria, we will make it at par with skills internationally. We have signed an agreement with American Concrete Institute for the skills in concrete technology. In the next 2 months, we will be signing an agreement with the Chartered Institute of Building, which is the UK institution that certifies builders all over the world.
Now, I need to know if this same progress is being replicated in other sectors, aside from the building and construction industry.
Yes, but at different levels of maturity.
Levels. All right, thank you for that. All right, so that's our show for today. And I hope listening and viewing it, you have taken something tangible away from the show today. We've looked at how the acquisition of skill can actually be a panacea to Nigeria's youthful unemployment problem. I beg your pardon. And I'd like to say a big thank you to our guests today, Mr. Samson.
Thank you very much.
Of Palua. Thank you so much, sir, for coming through.
I'm glad to be here.
Glad to have had you on the show. And also many thanks to Builder Shoyibi Samson. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right. So if you're a Nigerian youth out there, well, I know it's not yet Uhuru, but then there is serious hope in the horizon. As you have listened to our guests today, the government is not just sitting down doing nothing. A lot is in motion to ensure that we want to learn a skill, you get the opportunity to be empowered through skills, to forge a better life for yourself. The International Labour Organization projected that unemployment amongst Nigerian youth is now at 5.84%, and that was as of 2024. The blue-collar jobs are not really there. You and I know that. So the way out is for you to learn a skill and be a better version of yourself. And not just that, become an employer of labor as well. Thank you again for watching the show. Don't forget, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Honeytree TV, and also to all of our social media platforms. And we hope to see you on another one. Bye for now.